The time has come in sprockets for questions.
Okay.
Yes. Where do we have people with
somewhere with a microphone?
microphones?
Just have them call it.
Questions? Where are you?
Microphones are in
There's
these
somebody over there
corners
waving the sign. Look at that
See a
guy
hand
right
over there.
See that guy with his
There are
hand?
microphones over in this corner and that corner.
Oh, yeah. You
Oh,
gotta go
microphones.
So you line up at those.
Line
One
up at
there.
the microphones.
One there.
Microphone there.
Line up with
Microphone there.
microphones.
Gentleman on my right, your question.
There's a microphone.
All this technology stuff lives in an ecosystem of our economy.
Okay.
All of this technology stuff lives in our ecosystem of an economy.
People.
So we're stuck at 10% unemployment. Who's going to buy this shit next year? Are we going to come out of the recession? Are we going to be able to have jobs? Are we going to afford this stuff? What's the future look like when the European Union melts down and China reclaims our debt?
You forgot when we get hit by a comet. Did you see the big box retail numbers today? They were up 5% year on year. It's kind of freaky, but people are buying stuff again. I don't get it,
Look at the
but I
iPad.
can't stand in the way.
Look at the iPad. I couldn't think of a worse time to launch a new product category, and there's people buying that like crazy. And then they'll come out with another version, and all those people will go out and buy that in a year, 18 months. I mean, there's the people who have jobs are at the higher end.
And on that 9% unemployment, the interesting thing in that, when you take it apart, is if you have college, it's like 6%. If you have grad school, it's like 2%. If you made it through high school or didn't get through, it's like 16 or 19%. It's just, we're turning into a really skewed country that way.
I was about to say, while there are nice and happy indicators, the truth of the matter is that our economy is never going to recover in the same way again. That there are just certain jobs, there are a lot of certain jobs that we should have in this country that we don't, that are just never coming back. Why that's happened, there's many different reasons, but the result is probably not going to be good.
Let's go to this question over here.
So I thought it was interesting the lack of discussion around the venture capital industry and startups, given this is Silicon Valley. What do you think about the traditional venture model? More IPOs, more funding, or is the action going to go to the angels?
A lot more short-term investing, quick acquisitions, like, hoping for a Groupon type deal. I think the IPO market is, as we've known it, is never going to come back, even in the best of times.
Yeah, you said no big IPOs in 2011 is your prediction. Anybody else want to weigh in?
For most of these companies, you don't need the capital on that level. Why give up that much equity?
The definition of venture capital is changing. And Ron Conway's going to hate me say this. Ron Conway's not an angel. Ron Conway is basically a seed stage venture capitalist. Or you're going to just have emerging these terms. The real distinction between, and remember, we had this discussion on the panel yesterday, the real distinction between angel and venture capitalists. Angel is investing his own money. Ron Conway's not just investing his own money anymore, and that's what's happening with a lot of it. Just because you're investing a small amount doesn't mean you're an angel investor. You're going to see convergence in terms of price, in terms of names. There's not going to be this big distinction, venture capitalists versus angels, because frankly, it's a misnomer.
And another interesting trend this year, and probably continue next year, is an increasingly broad and deep secondary market away from Wall Street, private shares.
So if you think about the reasons you do an IPO, right? One of them is for liquidity purposes. If you're an insider of Facebook, you own stock. You've had plenty of opportunities.
Some Russian dude throwing
some
money.
Some Russian dude's going to come along and offer to buy $200 million worth of their stock. So that's kind of gone away, and you do need less capital. And some of these companies are generating cash flow, so they don't need the money as badly. But I do think that one thing that has happened is clearly there has been a little bit of a shift from let's build a company to take it public to let's build a company that we can sell. And we're seeing, we have a corporate environment where the big players have mountains and mountains of cash and can spend $6 billion on Groupon.
That's the exit strategy.
While continuing to generate that much cash and more over the course of the year. So I think that you still will see a company formation, but with a sort of different end goal.
Well, this question over here.
One of the things we haven't discussed today is the talent wars for engineering going on in the Valley. Recently we've seen a lot of movement from Google to Facebook, and the Department of Justice getting involved, and $5 million in stock options for Google engineers not to go to Facebook, and Facebook Foursquare adding an office in the Valley. What do you guys see as the future for the engineering talent war in the Valley, and who's going to be the winner, and what it's going to take for those companies to win?
Who wins the talent wars?
Nerds. Right? I mean, it's those, it's a geek world, Welcome to it. I mean, the economy of the Valley is built on genius engineers and coders. And, if you get the right guy, they can, stay up 20 hours and build you a product that will generate a lot of money.
And nobody wins the talent war. It's just
No,
who's
no,
got the newest.
someone wins the talent
win
wars.
are the people with the talent.
The college students win.
Yeah, it's the people with the talent who win the talent
If you meant
wars.
the companies, it's like who's got the newest, coolest thing that's getting the best people now.
I mean, there's an inherent.
circulates.
I mean, Google, is paying up to hold on to everybody because, as a now, Google's not a, they're a large established player now. They're not a startup. They don't have the same upside that you do. Would you rather own stock in Google or would you rather own stock in, Facebook or Zynga?
Yeah, but also what they say in their defense is true. It's not like it's becoming an incredibly stupid place, and it's not like Microsoft
not
is
at
losing
all.
a lot of.
But it is,
there are talented people at all these places.
No, but the fundamental core issue is that what drives growth in this industry is engineering talent. It's not about, it's not, it used to be about manufacturing, right? We used to be a manufacturing economy. And this is really an economy, particularly in the Valley, that's driven on brains. And if you are a genius engineer, you can write your ticket, and that's just not going to change.
Right, but also the talent wars will never end, right? I mean, Facebook will become Google, right? And then like the next small company will then be poaching those players, right? I mean, there's a natural instinct to want to create, to be entrepreneurial, right? So these people will obviously, keep going, right? Facebook will eventually lose the talent wars as well, as they lose those strong engineers to create their own brilliant, whether it's a location-based service or the next Groupon or whatever.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's the ecosystem.
Strong real estate prices.
Another question over here.
Jerry Corbett, Chair and CEO of PRSA in 2012. We're talking about futures here, and nobody's addressed the future. So who's going to be the first company to commercialize the skull camera?
What? Skull camera?
What are you talking about?
You heard about the professor? I'm sorry. There's a professor that had a camera embedded in his skull.
You talk the
Did you guys read
the one
about
on the back of his head, that thing?
the front of his head.
Skull camera?
All right.
Come on, this is a Google thing. Come on.
One moment, everybody. So let's just explain what he's talking about. So there is a guy. He's a professor at I think
NYU.
Is it NYU now? That has the camera embedded.
Yeah, it's an art installation. Got a camera embedded in the back of his head so that he would. It's being, I think, displayed in Abu Dhabi or
he is an
Dubai
artist.
or something.
And there's
He's an artist, yeah. So the
why-
future is now.
So we're not
That's
too
an
far away from that, right? I mean, come on.
That's a,
Well, okay, so you're right in that, for the first time we're starting to see brain-machine interfaces. We're starting to see in prosthetics, that stroke victims, there's starting to be some technology to allow that. And it's not fully developed yet, but it's really promising.
Yeah, I agree.
It sounds like it will not be Cisco. Cisco will not be the company to commercialize that. It's kind of the buzz I'm hearing over here. Let's take this question over here.
That's a hard question to follow. You're talking a lot about apps and entertainment apps, but what do you think is going to be the actual app to change people's lives? And we're not talking philanthropy, but something that's actually going to change people's financial lives and stuff like that. What do you think is going to be that in 2011?
I think Angry Birds has changed people's financial lives.
Farmville has definitely changed some people's financial lives, right? But
You think about just mobile phone
You mean
apps
that
or
isn't
any
trivial?
piece of technology in general? Let me throw the question back at you. What do you think was the last app?
That's my alarm.
To say the Q&A is coming to a close. But what do you think was the last app to change people's lives?
The last app to change people's lives? Well, I'm going to go with Intuit, but that's my client. Intuit Dealhood personally, but I want to see what you guys have to say.
Oh my God. A PR person with an agenda.
The only one in the room. One person.
You threw the question back at me.
That's true. That's honest. So, what do you guys think? I will vote for Facebook. Will continue to change people's lives in major ways. What do you guys think?
That's an app?
It is an app on the iPhone.
It's in the App Store.
It's the most popular of all apps.
Yep.
I'm going with you on that, Jim.
All right.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is I don't think we've come to the potential of what can really be done. What will really change, there will be some kind of app that uses the peripherals of the iPhone 4 and that really figures it out. We haven't come close to seeing what actually, what you're talking about, that type of change to the world. We haven't seen it yet. I'm not sure what it is yet. It's going to completely take us by surprise.
So you don't have an ideal app? Like, what would be your ideal app?
I think there's an app, I think it's called See, Click, Fix, right, which helps people get engaged in their communities. So if you see graffiti, if you see a pothole, if you know, something that you're going to trip on, you can take a picture of it and send it to your local government. And that's a great way that people are getting involved, that they're being able to, on the go, report problems and make it more efficient for their local governments to step in and fix them.
I'll tell you what I do think. I don't know if you'd put this as an app, but I do think a mobile innovation that's going to be really different is that pretty soon you're going to be able to hire people all over the world to do things that might be of service to you and give them micropayments over the phone. There's a little Irish company that helps you send minutes from one phone to another across borders. And what if, say, Google got a bunch of people in Dhaka to identify their neighborhood, and they could use that as a tagging device inside, you know, Google Earth, and they paid them in minutes on their phone, you know, and that would be labor they need, and they'd be compensated, or they pay them in English language lessons that come up on their phone. Like, I think you're going to get really interesting kinds of commerce like that. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think there'll be sort of micro businesses like that, trans-border into poor countries, that'll be really interesting down the road.
Health and NFC.
All right. That's the briefest answer of the night. One more?
Do you guys mind?
Oh,
Sorry. It's a
last question.
Thank you. I'll defer. I'll defer.
Boo, John Fortt. Boo, John Fortt.
Sad.
It's hard.
I just do what I'm told for one night of the year.
In Google TV, does Logitech or Sony come out on top, or is it still too early for the market?
Apple TV comes on top.
In Google TV, wow, I just broke.
You mean within the Google TV universe? Is it Logitech or is it Sony?
Google
yeah,
TV
within the two options available.
Not going to be a success. Yeah. Not in the current generation. I mean, if anybody's played with it, it's just not. Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see if they're Microsoft-like. Google TV in the current incarnation just doesn't matter. Google
TV is like trying to roll a sumo wrestler through a people.
What?
Wow.
No,
it's a giant, cumbersome mess right now.
It's a Standard Valley problem designed by engineers for engineers.
I mean, but to Google's credit, it's not all Google's fault. I mean, the fact that you can't watch Hulu on Google TV, the fact that you can't watch ABC's
but
videos,
the device is half-baked. I mean, like if you play with the interface, it feels unfinished.
You're getting the gong show.
So it's there's an inherent idea in I mean, someone will do this right? Someone will figure out a really good integration of content on the web and your pay TV provider. Google TV is not it.
All right, that's the last word. I say Logitech, but you know, between.
Well, let's give it up for John and our great panelists. Thank you. Thank you guys. And congratulations to everyone for being selected for this very significant dais tonight. Stay put for a couple minutes. Also want to thank our sponsors again, all of them, for making tonight's event possible.